get started in about 3 minutes, everybody, about 3 minutes. So if you need to use the restroom, right out these doors. But again, 3 minutes, we'll get started and get the evening moving along for everybody. All right, good evening, everybody. Appreciate you all coming out. I have 6 o'clock on the button, so we will get started. I guess just like high school, most of you decided to sit towards the back, so I see where you all were as students when you were here, but I appreciate y'all being out. We are going to start the evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you could please stand. The flag is up here. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, again, thank you all for coming out, braving some of this weather. I gave the 4 of these gentlemen a bit of a fright. At about 4 o'clock, we got a message saying, hey, there is some nasty weather about an hour south of us. We might not be able to do this tonight. So we sent them all a message, and I think they thought I was pranking them. I'm glad to see that it's blown by. And again, appreciate everybody coming out, giving us some of your time this evening to listen to these 4 gentlemen speak. Couple of thank yous that I need to go through for everybody. Number 1, thank you to Starbrook Media and Mike Sabatini for providing the live stream tonight. So this is being streamed on the Starbrook Media YouTube channel, and it will be available to watch post if anybody wants to do so. I also want to thank LP High School for allowing us to use the auditorium for this forum. It's one of those things where you're never sure how many folks are going to show up. So we wanted to make sure we had enough space, and this seemed like a natural spot to host this event at. So thank you to LP for allowing us to use the space. Just so everybody's aware for this evening, the layout, I've heard this called the debate, I've heard it called several things. This is what we call a community forum. So what that is these 4 gentlemen running are going to answer questions that were provided by the community. It's not a debate style. The only questions, the follow-up questions will come from me. That's in order just to keep things flowing and make sure that we stay on time and get through as much as we possibly can. Anytime that there is more than one candidate running, there's always questions, and we want to make sure that we can get those questions answered and let these four kind of share what their plans are for the future, just to make sure that you are all informed voters, which I think is very important. We'll wrap with we'll start with the 5-minute opening, 3 minutes to answer questions, we'll wrap with a 5-minute closing, and then immediately following the question and answer session up here, I'll invite all of our folks that are running for an elected position, whether it is for the city or for the regional spots on the April 1st election, to come up front, and we'll have an informal meet and greet where you can shake hands, ask questions. They won't be on the microphone. It's an informal opportunity. There's a lot of houses to knock doors in LaSalle, and it's not been the greatest weather this spring, so it'll give them a chance to speak with each of you if you're interested. With that, I'm going to turn the show over to the four that you're here to see. So this evening, we're going to start with Jeff, with Mr. Grove, have him give his opening comments, and then we'll go down the table, and then we'll get into the questions. So, Jeff, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, and IVAC, for putting on this forum. Thank you to all candidates in all races of April 1st for being willing to put yourself out there as candidates. It is never an easy thing to do. You have to be open to criticism, false accusations, name calling, etc. We all know that's part of the program, unfortunately. Thank you to all the superintendents in the West, helping Board of Education, the staff, custodian staff here as well. Thank you to the Madison Band, whose people of Madison Mayoral Auditorium. It's outstanding to have both the best high school football stadium and auditorium in Illinois, at least in my opinion. Thank you to LaSalle residents and all taxpayers that passed our running to Mount LP. Our school is not now part of new schools in the suburbs, and it's very appreciative that they have pretty much brand new school here, so thank you. Thank you to my 17 for live streaming. Thank you to my fellow LaSalle residents who are here this evening, watching live, or will be watching when they have time. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the candidates, and please consider taking the time to vote Tuesday, April 1st. Your polling place is the same place you voted last November. I'm running for re-election there to continue the progress we made in the city of LaSalle. I believe there are 3 pillars to making a strong city. One pillar, city services, infrastructure. Another pillar is city employees. Third pillar is quality of life. These are all equally important. There's no 1, 2, or 3. The 3 pillars. Services infrastructure includes police, fire, ambulance, water, sewer, garbage, and roads. Revenues from property tax, sales tax, or real tax, corporate, residential utility payments, tip funds, and grants help to support these services. Employees, we try to get the best applicants to join our team as police, fire, ambulance, and public works employees, as well as to have them stay on the team. Quality of life, parks, family and friendly events at little to no cost, our swimming pool, library, pickleball courts, softball and baseball leagues, adult softball leagues, park and rec summer programs, and green space, trails at Rotary, allows residents to enjoy their time for leisure. We need to make sure we take time in our life for that. These pillars do not stand alone unless you have communication. Communication is the foundation for the pillars. Council meetings every 2 weeks, staff meetings every 2 weeks, sometimes weekly. Quarterly meetings with our employees, newsletters, Facebook, all calls, Live Up LaSalle postings, door hangings, information added to water billing mailings to help communicate to all residents. Our biggest challenge has always been finances. We do not have the sales tax revenue as other municipalities, so we focus on our downtown and to continue to operate the city within our means. When times were tough in 2008, I was on the council. The city didn't really have to cut extra spending because we weren't doing any extra spending at the time anyway. We're continuing to watch spending while still focusing on paving roads and working on infrastructure. Second challenge is ambulance, paramedic, fire department staffing. It's an issue area-wide, statewide. It's hard to get folks in that profession to come and work as paramedics, fire departments. We've done, working with our own fire department, is to make a fire department / paramedic position. It's a pension job, which we feel will include more applicants to come and actually decide to work here with that pension. Right now, 401ks, people can go to group. A pension will hopefully maintain that employee to stay with us the long range as a full career. I had a great example of my parents in civic duty. We'd walk to Lincoln Junior High with my parents to vote. They set the example. My grandpa was an LP school board member. My mom was always on the grade school PTA. My dad was on the St. Heisen's grade school board. As many of you know, they volunteered with school athletic church functions just like you do. My high school teacher, Mr. Bird, encouraged us to give back. Don't forget where you came from, where you grew up at. Mayor Brady set the first example for me to follow in the city government as mayor. I know he started to run the city like a business and started to address the aging infrastructure. Mayor Murphy worked with Mr. Seneca and other landowners to annex property to the east, almost doubling the size of LaSalle as far as ground. Mayor Arwishkwike was my alderman and then mayor. I was fortunate to be an alderman for 6 years with Mayor Washkoak. He created downtown TIF and had the vision for downtown. My goal is to promise to work with integrity, high energy, strong communication, and commitment to serve the residents of LaSalle. You, my bosses, with my experience and with the strong team we have in LaSalle, made up of city staff, employees, businesses, schools, and you. I want to be part of the group that sets up the next generation to be successful, just as we were set up by past administrations. I look forward to that discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Jamie next.
What's going on in the big old town of LaSalle today, people? My name is Jamie Hicks, and I'm running for mayor because this city needs a change in leadership. It needs fresh eyes, fresh thoughts, and fresh ideas. Over the past 2 years, the city of LaSalle has tried to silence me and others with ordinances that limit speaking times and physically remove me from meetings in violation of their own ordinances. Let's not forget the police retaliation, the harassment, the Apollo illegal criminal investigation coerced by Karis Chemical in the city of LaSalle, unwarranted taking of my cell phone, and false reports to Social Security office. This has not been an easy road for me by any means, but I am still standing here and I am still fighting for you. I know I am not the only one who has stood in the wrong side of the fence with Jeff Grove. Cross his path and you will be dealt with. This stops now with me. This campaign isn't about me, it's about all of us. It's about the residents who feel ignored. It's about the businesses that tried to set up shop but got screwed over by city politics. It's about taxpayers who tried to see their money being mismanaged. It's about the city employees afraid of retaliation if they don't go with the flow. I'm running because we deserve better. A mayor that just doesn't work for a handful of insiders. A mayor who isn't afraid to tell the truth, even if it makes people uncomfortable. A mayor who isn't looking for political favors, but is ready to clean house and get this city back on track. My journey started because of the Karis fire, and it has led me down a path of lies, deceit, and deception. It seems truth, justice, and accountability have been avoided for over 20 years, and I have been on a mission to expose the corruption behind the small town politics in this city. From the making of the Jamie Hicks Show to the Hicks News, exposing real events that go on behind closed doors. Doing the right thing is not always easy. I've had my ups and downs. I take my small wins when I get them. I believe we need leadership because it's not the people that's broken, it's the ones in charge. This stops now. No more backroom deals, no more stonewalling the residents, no more personal agendas, no more retaliation, no more favoritism, and let's get on to being transparent about our $2 million deficit that we are in right now as I speak. That seems to be hidden from the public eye. What we need to do is use TIF money for true economic growth, not just handouts and bailing out the deficit. We need to utilize the East End water treatment plant because it's crumbling as we speak from lack of use. We need to utilize the sewer and water mains that already exist. This is untapped potential for major growth in this city. We need to address the smell downtown if we plan on businesses to set up shop at LaSalle. This comes from years of neglect that they are now forced to address, people. TIF is meant for projects that bring impact to the community. TIF monies have been used to build a park, city garage, while the old city garage is in such bad shape in a TIF district, they can't give the building away. Ask yourself why Grove has not used this money to repair the old city garage, but paid big money to move the new city garage into a TIF district at the cost of the tax dollars' money. All this, also he could store the celebration of lights in the new building. What economic impact has that brought us? None. They got what they wanted and willing to hide it from us to get it. When I realized we had a major water quality issue, I dug into finding out why. To my amazement, the current administration has known for years we needed to get our wells out of the floodplains. They have ignored this. They have ignored, and ignored. We are competing with Caris Chemical over clean water. There are many, my time's running out, people. There's many issues that I have in my mind. Instead of handing out tax breaks to big corporations, we need to focus on small business, local entrepreneurs, and ones who actually create long-term jobs in this city. I know my name makes some people nervous that are in power, and that's good, because if they're afraid of accountability, then they shouldn't be running the city in the first place. I'd appreciate your vote on April 1st. Let's make this change together, people.
All right. Right at 5. It is, it's tougher than you think to get everything you want into 5 minutes, and I think you'll see that tonight. So just so you know, that alarm, they all are aware that when that alarm goes off, that's their 20 seconds. It's not anybody being rude, it's just to keep everybody on track. So, appreciate that. Next up, we have Tyler.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler Thompson. First things first, as you can tell, I'm the youngest person up here. I'll be turning 27 in April this year. My one and only goal right now is, like he said, this is for the next generation. I want to start pushing a youth-forward program. I want people in the 18 to 25 age range to feel like they have their voice being heard, that they can themselves expand our politics. I'm going to try to keep this short. I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for being involved in politics, because at the core of everything, it's the people who control everything in the city, and they should be controlling every aspect of the city. The mayor, just a figurehead at the end of the day, who does the administrative work. That's it.
Thank you, Tyler. Well under his 5 minutes, so appreciate that. All right, and then Gary, if you could wrap us up, please, with opening comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Hammers, and I'm honored to be running for Mayor of LaSalle. I want to start by apologizing. I'll be reading from my notes tonight because there's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure that I do not leave anything out. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to be here. This election isn't just about me. It's about all of us and the future of our city. I am a longtime resident of LaSalle. My wife Julie and I have been married for 46 years last Monday, or a couple days ago. Just a side note, every year I get my wife a traditional anniversary gift. 46 years. Anybody know what the traditional anniversary gift for 46 years are? Oh, we'll get back to that. Julie and I raised our 3 children here. Today, our 8 grandchildren also call them a community home, and we spend much of our time attending their school activities, sporting events, and helping with their daily routines. Like many of you, I care deeply about the future of LaSalle, not just for ourselves, but for the next generation. I am not a politician. I am a business leader and a problem solver. Over the years, I have helped start over 35 businesses in our area, rehabbed and improved more than 15 buildings in downtown LaSalle, dedicated over 40 years of service to the hearing impaired, leading a team of 6 employees who depended on me, owned a business in LaSalle for over 35 years, and in all that time, no one from our former city council has ever visited to ask what I might need. The last point is important because as a mayor, I will personally visit our local entrepreneurs to find out how the city can help them succeed. I know firsthand what it takes to run a business in LaSalle, and I believe that supporting our businesses is the key to building a stronger city. Now that I'm retiring, I'm dedicating 100% of my time to serving this community. I'm not running for mayor for a paycheck. In fact, I'm donating my entire salary back to the city to help fund sidewalk and curb improvements. That's because I believe in real action, not empty promises. One of LaSalle's greatest strengths is our downtown business community, and I'm incredibly proud to support it. Most of our downtown shops are owned and operated by women entrepreneurs, and they are the backbone of our local economy. These hardworking business owners bought into the winning system that I started, and together we have built something great. But we're not done yet. Let's put the train back on the track and keep the momentum going. When business succeeds, LaSalle thrives. And as mayor, I will continue to champion and support local entrepreneurs and economic growth. I know I've talked a lot about downtown, but my vision extends far beyond it. I have a team of local investors ready and willing to invest in LaSalle. I have already identified over 30 acres of prime real estate that will kickstart the growth of hotels, restaurants, car dealerships, bringing in new jobs and new tax revenue and a stronger economy. I have a proven track record of getting things done, and I have a clear vision for the future of LaSalle, one that I will see through to completion. My plan includes stronger economic development to bring in new business and support local entrepreneurs, lower property taxes by increasing sales tax revenue from a thriving business district, a safer, more walkable city with improved infrastructure, reinvestment in our neighborhoods. I have a complete economic development plan ready to go, and I will unveil it as soon as I'm elected. My goal is simple: to make LaSalle a city we can all be proud of, a place where business thrive, families feel secure, and our communities continue to grow. This election is about choosing a leader who has proven experience, a real plan, and a deep commitment to this city. I have spent my life working to make LaSalle better, and as your mayor, I will continue to do that work every single day. On April 1st, I ask for your vote so that together we can build a stronger, more prosperous LaSalle. Let's keep the momentum going and move LaSalle forward. It's time for a change. Thank you. By the way, 46-year anniversary is petroleum. Petroleum.
I hope to get there one day. So, if you notice, I appreciate all four of you and your opening comments there. If the audience and those at home noticed, you didn't hear, other than not taking a paycheck, you didn't hear the reason that any of the four of these gentlemen are running is for a paycheck, or for notoriety, or for a free meal, right? Because chances are you're going to get charged double in a position like this when you go out to eat, depending on what changes or choices you've made. So what you heard is they're all looking for change. They're all looking for growth for this community. I will tell you that you don't run for a position like this unless you believe in it. Now, the way that they get to those changes, they're not going to agree. If they all agreed on it, they wouldn't be running right now. So just keep that in mind tonight. You're going to hear different opinions, you're going to hear different thoughts, and that's what tonight is all about, and that's really what our election cycle is all about. They all believe in LaSalle, they all want to see growth, they all want to see change, but their plans to get there will be different. So thank you all for those opening comments. We're going to kick off the questions with a question for everybody. Jeff, we will start with you, and this first question, and I can repeat it as we go down the line, but the first question is, what is the first action that you will take as mayor in this next election cycle, and why would this action be good for the residents of LaSalle? So again, first action you plan to take, your first big project or program, and how will that benefit our residents in LaSalle?
So basically, it's a continuation of what we're currently doing. We're trying to expand on some new ideas and opportunities. When I first ran was a point to get a economic director position. And that really was a situation where it was the point of contact for local businesses to make that first contact with the city and move forward with that. When we have an interested developer now, we meet with them as a team to be a one-stop shop. City engineer, city clerk to discuss zoning, public works director, economic director, the finance director, and our city attorney is always available by phone to make sure there's any questions. So we're not saying, hey, we'll have to come back to you on this, or can we meet next time? Because we know everybody's busy with the schedule. We in LaSalle don't want to be the red tape. We don't want to be the cog in the tire that's holding up the progress. Right now, there are no major projects. Economic Director Kurt is in Chicago today, actually, for a manufacturing warehouse convention. We continue to work with our local developers, our local landowners, and to try to find out what's going on with IVAC, with Gina. The Clear property was one of the final properties for Ollie's Distribution Center, which we know they've decided in the Princeton location, which is out, which we're very proud that we were right there in the running. One thing I think that we have to realize as a city is that Princeton owned that property. So when you take the middle person out of it, the third party out of it, we probably could have had a situation to land that. Sometimes there's misunderstandings, sometimes it's a price point. We had an opportunity last fall to get 43 acres at the northwest corner of 178 and Route 80 as the Utica interchange. Unfortunately, we needed 6 out of 9 votes to do that. We had 5, me being 1 yes vote. We had 4 aldermen that didn't. The property was up for auction. The bank was going to give us a first shot, roughly about $700,000. The only reason I pushed for the council at the time to go get it was because we had a situation where we know it was just a difference of opinion between the bank that held it and a couple developers. With our economic director on board, I thought we could get this done, buy it for $700,000. Even if we flipped it for $700,000, it'd be a win-win because we had a new developer. Unfortunately, the council didn't want to do that, which everybody has their own ideas. And as a team here, we might agree to disagree on business decisions, but it's never personal, right? So unfortunately, at the end, another group got it, and right away that price went to $1.8 million to $2 million. Right? So again, missed opportunity for us, but we're going to continue to work on that and try to get that situation. So again, a lot of times it's not up to the city to bring this stuff. There's not a menu that says, hey, I want a hotel. Boom, press the button, you get a hotel. I want a car lot. Boom, I want a car lot. We see in Peru where IV Auto Group, very successful group on the west end of Peru, across from UPS and Route 6. They moved, a couple different reasons, but I know one was to be by why. 251, it's kind of auto roll, right? You have a situation to be, again, one-stop shop, and if they can't find it at Jeff Perry, they maybe go down the road to Ivy Auto Group. We have other opportunities here as far as social media to get us promoted. Live Up LaSalle, which our own companies in town can use that for their own marketing. Our Natural Heritage Corridor, our TIF, our RIP grant, which is a facade grant, our RFP program. So again, it was mentioned about our public works building. If somebody wants a project, they don't have to pay the $275,000 that was appraised at. We want them to save that money, to put that money towards the building. We will give them, the city, not just myself, the alderman, that building to make it right, and guess what? That's a $275,000 incentive, correct? Sales tax reimbursement. I like this the best. It's kind of like a pay for performance. We did that with Bex. Bex said, hey, we want this amount of money back in sales tax reimbursement. I said, that's great, because they're going to do what? They're going to work hard to get sales tax, and then we get a chance to get them paid back sooner than later. That's our plan. We're on the right track, and again, I believe it's the businesses downtown that help us down there. It's our land developers that will help us grow up our Route 80, up our Route 39, up by Route 6 towards the Four Corners and Utica. Thank you.
All right, there were some technical difficulties on the phone, so thanks for keeping it right where it needed to be, because go figure, first question, we had a goof. So appreciate that. For those who don't know, when Gina was mentioned, Gina is the director at the North Central Illinois Economic Development Corporation, which is an economic development group that promotes the entire region. Just to clarify that for anybody who may not have that information. So Jeff, thank you for that. Absolutely. Tyler, to you, same question, sir. So what is the first action that you'd like to take as mayor, and why would this action be good for the residents here in LaSalle?
The first action that I would like to take is actually to hold a meeting specialized with the current government body and every single individual who's running on the ballot for April 1st this year. That means that regardless of who actually wins these positions, this would still allow the majority voter base to have their opinion heard. This project could be created through any sort of announcement from these individuals, win or lose. And then we'll work as the established government going forward to try to make this plan operate. Beyond that, it looks like we could also have about 2 to 3 meetings with the public afterwards to knock out the loose ends there and to guarantee that this project would have at least a 90% approval of the public going forward.
Thank you, Tyler. And I know that there were some of those meetings held by Director Beadeye last year, I believe. Turnout like this wasn't quite where it could have been, so we'd like to see with those meetings, those public meetings, anytime they're held, to see you folks out at those as well, just because it does help drive the direction of this community. Don't just wait for April 1st or November, any of those elections. Use your voice to be heard throughout the year. Talk to your alderman, stop at the city, whatever it is, take advantage of those meetings and those groups that do happen. So Tyler, thank you for sharing that plan. Jamie, the question is to you now, sir. So same question. What's the first action that you plan to take, and how will that benefit the residents here in LaSalle?
My first action that I plan to take is we need full transparency and accountability in the government. So we're going to need a forensic audit. We're going to need to find out where our money's going, where it's truly going, where grant money's being spent, where TIF money's being misused, and get to the bottom of the true issue with our finances in LaSalle. They can go ahead and say the pasture's green all they want. The numbers don't lie. They know we're in a deficit. They continue to deny it to the people and cover it up. So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is I would get with every alderman individually and squash out any issues that we may have encountered over the last 2 years, either by their force of hand or by my force of hand. We need to end the wasteful spending in LaSalle. We need to be accountable for, the city needs to be accountable for the money, what's being paid for. I want to give an example. We just did $9,000 for Rotary Park, people. $9,000 to do a drone survey of Rotary Park. Are we worried about downtown? Are we worried about Rotary Park? Are we worried about anything else but that? The people. We're forgetting the people. The people are the ones who should be making these decisions. We're being lied to, people. And I will expose every lie that comes out of anybody's mouth. If I am mayor, and if there's an alderman on that, we're in a meeting and he's talking some BS, I'm a no bullshit guy. I'm gonna call it up. We need to hold our officials accountable for what they do and what they don't do. The Karis fire was a disgrace. The way every alderman, almost every alderman, the city in general, the way they handled that was a disgrace to the people that were affected by the fallout of them chemicals. We need to restore trust in local government. We need to be making everything, you know, it upsets me because they talk about transparency. But the issue is if you go on the city website, they've been changing it lately. It's only because I've been pushing for it. They're called small wins. These are the small wins that I get. I force them to do these things. It's not on their own will. If they want to be transparent, they can give us the packets before the meetings. They can let us speak longer than 3 minutes. They can answer the questions that everybody's been wondering and been asking over and over again. But they keep continuing to say that they are transparent, just contact them. Well, it depends who you are in this city. Who you are.
That is your 3. Thank you, Jamie. So the forensic audit obviously then would be opened up to the public, right? And then there is a question that we may get to, but that the meetings one-on-one with current aldermen, I appreciate you addressing that as well, because I know that was a question that came up. So appreciate that being part of your primary or your initial plan. So thank you for sharing that. Gary, will you wrap us up with this first question for all of you? What is the first action that you'll take, and how will that benefit our residents here?
Maybe I've changed my mind on the first action I'm going to take. We know there's a lot of bad blood at this table. I think the first action I would take is to try to just calm all this down and move forward. We have 10,000 people in our town. I look to the young people. I want to help the young people realize that this might be part of politics, but this should not be part of LaSalle. Let's move forward and make the town the best it possibly can be. So the first day in office, if I was the mayor, I would meet with 2 buying groups that I have already contacted, and I personally know them, and I would start buying property in order to get the sales tax built up with our hotel, strip mall, car dealership. We are way behind other communities, people. We have 1 fast food place in our city. We have a town of 10,000 people. I go to ball games with my kids. We drive through towns of 1,000 people or 2,000 people. They've got a McDonald's and a Hardee's and a Kentucky Fried Chicken. They've got a motel. They've got everything we don't have. And I don't understand why we just can't turn the page on this and start thinking about what we should be doing to create more money instead of fighting over the morsels that we get. We have a town that's very near us that just put in 2 new subdivisions. They have put in 34 new homes. Do you know how many new homes have been built in LaSalle in the last few years? 1. 34 times $6,000 in taxes is $240,000 each year in real estate taxes. I mean, you guys, we've got to get to the point to where we're thinking about building the future of LaSalle instead of fighting over ordinances. I believe that there's a lot of wasted spending in the city. I see wasted spending every day. I am a landlord, and I have numerous properties that have water bills. Each one of these properties, if they are a day late on the water bill, the landlord gets a letter saying they're a day late. One of my tenants might be a day late on a water bill. The tenant gets a pink copy of it. It's the same thing. So there's 2 letters going out to say that you're a day late. I get from 5 to 10 of these letters every single month. All the tenants end up paying their water bill, but we are paying $10 to $20 a month in just postage to send these letters out.
And that is your 3 minutes. I apologize if you didn't hear the timer.
We have email and we have text messaging.
So a couple things that I heard there, Gary. One of the pieces that stuck out to me, because there are several contested races. No matter what happens between the 4 of you or any of the folks running for council, I think it is important that we all remember post-election you're all still residents, right? You're all still residents of this city. You all still care about this city, so I think that was an important piece to call out. And then as somebody who represents the region through IVAC, win, lose, or draw, I encourage you, and I'd love to sit down post-election, no matter what happens, and look at that buying group and still move forward, because as community members, as Tyler mentioned in his opening, as community members, you're the boss, right? You're the ones that get to make these decisions. You're the ones that get to put the butts in seats. So any community member, I encourage you, as I said earlier, to take control, take charge, and do what you can. So Gary, thank you.
How do we get them voted through so we can build?
It'll be easier if you're mayor, right? But I encourage the conversations to happen. Thank you, Gary. Thank you all for the first question. Next question is going to be just for you, Jeff. The first question for Jeff alone is, what will you do to attract new business to LaSalle?
I believe I answered that, I apologize, the first time, when I mentioned about the economic director position. If you guys need me flexibility, I'll go back to what my day one could be.
Yeah, please,
They're
if you
kind of
have...
the same thing anyway, that's why I kind of got confused, so I apologize for that. The main thing we're working on right now, and again, of course, is still the budget. Spending, sales growth, sales tax growth, our economy. Right now, our focus is on how we're not going to have Kohl's, we're not going to have Target, we're not going to get Home Depot, we're not going to have Menards. Crew did an outstanding job 40 years ago. They looked ahead, they wanted to get out to Route 80. At that time, the downtown was what it was all about. We kind of put our bet on the downtown. Fortunately, we're seeing that happen again, where downtown's still going to be an issue to go forward. Unfortunately, we inherited, and we're working on it, is pension. We have a police pension, and we have fire department pension. And those folks worked hard in their career, and we need to make sure that money is available to them when it's time. We came in, the police department pension was at 20%, 26%. Right now, we're at 40%. We have until 2040 to get it to 90%. So we're making some strides. Before us in the office, we were giving $300,000 to the pension, the fire, the police. Now we're giving over $2 million. Believe me, the council and myself would love to have $2 million to put through other development opportunities, but we have to take care of the folks who've been there before us and do the right thing by those firemen and police department folks. The fire department, we're at 80% right now, so we're not gonna have any problem. We should get to that 90% pretty soon, okay? I talked about it a little bit already, is ambulance service. To me, it's probably our number one service for our residents here. We're in an area that's older. Speaking from past experience, my family, we've used the ambulance service a lot, unfortunately. But it's nice that we have our own ambulance service. And I appreciate the aldermen at the time when we did this. Alderman Demas was one of them on the Peru Ambulance Board. We decided, hey, we're not gonna pay $4,000 a month to Peru Ambulance, which is $48,000 a year. We're gonna start our own. And right now that own ambulance service is up to over $900,000 in the budget. Again, we can't use that for sidewalk, you can't use that for roads, but it's here for service, right, for our folks. So right now we're at the point where we're probably gonna, again, we talked about it, get fire medic personnel that will also be able to do fire department work as well as first response paramedics to make sure everybody here gets that great response they need for their health care. We all know sometimes it's seconds that can matter of life or death, correct? What's nice about LaSalle and our own service, and we see other communities that are paying outside services to do their service, is that we don't have to pay the balance due. If my insurance only pays $2,500 or $3,000, I don't have to pay the extra $500. If my Medicare only pays, $2,000 of it, I'm not going to get an individual bill to cover the rest. So that's our goal. Those are big things still facing us right now. It's still the budget, our pensions, and our services for you. Thank you. Appreciate your flexibility.
Yeah, not a problem. Appreciate it, Jeff. Jamie, the next question is for you, sir. And the question is, would you please share some of your background and how that background and your experience professionally in work can help you leverage, or how can you help leverage that to make sure that you are a benefit to LaSalle? How can you help LaSalle with that?
Yeah, my background, I have a background. I'm not a career politician. Was never used to talking in front of crowds. I don't know if many of you, if you've ever been in a situation where you have to do what we're doing, it's not the easiest job. So we all need that credit on that side of it. But I am not a career politician. I'm a union laborer, and I have decades of hands-on experience. I was injured in 2014. I messed my neck up, my shoulder, my back, and a bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, my $110,000, $20,000 career ended at that time, and life seemed to put me on a path of wondering where I'm gonna fit in, and I just happened to fall into this. But anyway, my work, and what I worked on is I ran sewer vac trucks, sewer cleaning, televising, lining. I've televised most of these sewers in the city of LaSalle. I know where the problem areas are. I've been doing this since Grove's been mayor of LaSalle, and that's been over 20 years. Just because I haven't been in the work field force for a while due to my injury doesn't mean that I don't forget what I know. I have a hazmat training. I've worked with crews that clean up hazardous waste materials. That's why when the Cares fire hit, I knew something wasn't right. That's gonna be good to bring to the table. I know what budgets, what these jobs go for. I know what it takes to put sewer pipe in the ground. I know what our city workers are capable and should be doing, and they're not. I don't know if the people know or not, but we've been paying a lot of money to have other companies like Pohar and UC Paving to repair our storm drains. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, we just give it away. We're paying people to clean our sewers when we have a what? A Vector, a sewer cleaning machine. And I hate to sound like I'm being a real horse's rear, but it upsets me that they don't use the equipment, the manpower for what the purpose is. Cleaning our streets, they haven't done that. That's a job in itself, let alone taking care of the infrastructure. But I know infrastructure. I know what it takes. I've worked in it hands-on. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate the insight and the information. So as you talk infrastructure, that is your background. So appreciate what you could bring there. Tyler, you are next, sir. The question for you is, what can you do differently to promote the properties currently available for development here in LaSalle?
So as of right now, there's only about 2 things that we can do differently. And the standard version would be to relook at zoning codes and tax breaks and tax reform. However, we can only do that so often and so many times before we start going back to original tax codes and the tax breaks we already offered prior. Another one that I'm currently looking at is to create a temporary store program. So what this will be is that for 3 months, locals in the area of not just the city of LaSalle, but like Peru, Oglesby, the township, and the surrounding townships could place a bid to come in and try to renovate and put a prop-up business in one of the empty storefronts. We won't charge them the full rent rate for those few months, and this will either hopefully show that they can stay long-term, which then they will have to pay the normal rate and continue to work as any other storefront would be. Or if they fail, then they will fall out and then we'll go to the next bid, which the cycle will continue until as many storefronts in the downtown region is filled.
Okay. So it sounds almost like an incubator program. Okay. Okay, would there be, and just curiosities, and I apologize. So, would it be front loaded where those discounts, those breaks for those businesses would be up front, getting started those first few months, and then there would be a payback kind of spread out over the next X amount of years, so long as they're successful, so the city can recoup money? Or will it just be, hey, this is a marketing expense, it's a sunk cost, they're here now and they're driving taxes at this point.
So if they fail, they're gonna have to pay back that full amount over a set course of time that will be made with the contract with them at that time that the council approves of. The other side is if they perform well, that they don't have to pay back that cost. That was an incentive. They performed their duty to the letter. They get to stay.
Okay, appreciate the clarification. Thank you. Gary, the next question is for you, sir. The question is, what are some of the pro-business policies that you would work to enact if elected mayor? You're getting a business theme here. These were all randomized, by the way, but the question that came up for Gary was, what are the pro-business policies that you would work to enact if elected mayor?
My first pro-business policy would be to make sure that we meet with every business owner in LaSalle.
That's not right.
That was pretty quick.
You got scammed.
You gonna restart?
Yep, you're restarted.
Okay. What I said was, we will meet with every business owner in LaSalle. We have an economic director and that's available to do that. We need to meet with the business people of LaSalle and actually have a conversation about what they need to be successful. The second thing that I would do is similar to the pop-ups that Tyler talked about. I know a lot of the people that own buildings downtown, they're empty, nothing really happening with them. I would work with the landlords of these buildings, because I personally know them, to get a few pop-ups in here and get started on these entrepreneurs who want to do something. There's a lot of people that really just would love to get on their own and try to make whatever they make money. And the hard part for that is they really, a lot of times it's just experimental. But by going into a few of the places that we have empty downtown, they can try to see if they can be successful before they have to get locked in to a long lease that they can't pay, and then they do end up, falling apart and closing up shop. I also believe that if we can do facade renovation and pay for the facades downtown and fix them, I think we can have a loan or a free money that we're giving away $12,000 a year to have a property to give away to fix the facades. I think we can go ahead and make a grant program to get these pop-ups started by paying some of their rent, by paying some to get their stock in there, to get their signage going, and to actually give them a grant that they can use to get started. The city a few years ago had the chance to go ahead and be the first in the area to put food trucks in. We voted it down because we said the moms and the pops of the businesses that were already downtown would go out of business because we put food trucks downtown. Now it seems like food trucks are the most popular thing that are going in every town around us. We had the chance to be first. Our administration voted it down. There's ways that we can make something as a food truck work in our town by saying you have to be 500 yards away from any retail food store. Easy to do. Easy to do, and get the pop-ups and the food trucks going, so we have these entrepreneurs who can get into business cheaply, and they will actually buy into the system. Was that for me?
20 seconds left. That was a real one.
They can buy into the system and they get started as brick and mortar. We did that with a Modern Creek downtown. I had a building that was empty. We let Modern Creek come in, do a pop-up shop for a few months, no rent, and they ended up renting a building downtown and becoming a viable business in our city. It can be done. You just have to communicate with these people and not just shut them down or create an ordinance that will not allow them to get into business. Back to you, Bill.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the smooth transition, which I didn't give you. On that grant, a couple follow-ups for you. Would there be a matching portion to that grant? Anytime that there's grant dollars, You get several styles. One is free of charge or free and clear, it's a grant. One is you've got some skin in the game, so you do a matching. So if it's $10,000, $5,000 comes from the city, $5,000 comes from the business. Is that the kind of thought you have?
Well, how much do you have in your checkbook right
Well, I've got 2 kids, so not a lot here, not a lot.
now? So we think the Chamber of Commerce should pitch in. How about that?
Potential. And then the other piece, the food trucks, Airbnbs, there's a lot of that's happened in this area in the last 5 to 10 years. And just like in our personal lives, I think there's oftentimes fear of the unknown. We've dealt with that. The Airbnb piece was kind of the food truck follow-up. So I get not wanting to be the leader necessarily, but you also don't want to be the lagger. You got to find that balance, I think, is kind of where you were heading there. So appreciate the answer to that. All right, the next question goes back to everybody. Jamie, we're going to start with you on this all-in question. The question is, identify an initiative that you will pursue to partner with another governmental agency, so internal governmental agencies within the city, to really make sure that we're reducing redundancy and become more efficient to ultimately save the taxpayers money. I know you addressed that a little bit, or one of you addressed that a little bit, but would be curious to hear kind of what are some of those pieces you can really do to reduce that redundancy and save some money.
One of the biggest inefficiencies in LaSalle government, of course, is redundancy. The lack of coordination between city and county and regional agencies. Instead of each agency working in silos and duplicating efforts, we need to combine resources, streamline services, and create cost-saving partnerships. And that's probably the shortest question or answer I have for you tonight.
I appreciate it. So as you're thinking, it's not just internal redundancies, it's making sure that with state, city, and county, we've got those relationships really shored up and we can make sure that we're not duplicating efforts across the board.
Yes, because it happens. It's happened not just in local government, but in government in general. IEPA, EPA, OSHA, Homeland Security, they're all crossing each other, they're all doing the same thing, but they think they're doing it and nobody's doing it. So we need to stop that.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jamie. Gary, same question to you, sir. What are some of those redundancies that you can reduce or eliminate, and how will that help save those taxpayers some dollars?
Well, right away, I'd like to talk again about the water billing that LaSalle is doing, sending out multiple bills. I don't know if you guys realize it, but it takes 74 cents to send a letter out. Right now, I have 5 in front of me. I usually get from 5 to 10 every single month, a day after the water is due. I really would love to dive into the financing. Is John here? John Duncan here? And find out, if I can just see by getting a water bill how one person, which we probably had, how many is, let's see, I was thinking about Andy, how many rentals do we have in LaSalle? Does anybody know how many rentals we have? No, too hard of a number for, well, we have a lot of rentals in LaSalle. So every time a water bill comes out, 2 of them come out. One goes to the landlord and one goes to the tenant. If my tenants do not pay their water bill, about a month later I get a call from Joe, who runs around town, and he asks me to go into the building and shut the water off. I don't need multiple letters sent to me stating that a tenant hasn't paid the water bill. It's just a waste of money. I have a lot of other ideas of ways to save. Like I said, I'd love to work with John Duncan to get into the books and find out, that when we're being billed 2 or 3 times over and where the wasted spending is going. Almost everyone now has a cell phone. Why can't we just text that the water bill hasn't been paid? Why can't we send an email that the water bill hasn't been paid? There's other ways to do it to save us a lot of money. And I know that there's wasteful spending, and that would be being a businessman in LaSalle. That's basically all I did in the last 5 years. Watched where all the money was going. curb the spending, and we had a very successful business. Back to you, Bill.
All right, appreciate it. So process checks, it sounds like, water billing is one of the examples. But looking at those processes that the city currently has in play that may have been around, right? They've worked for us thus far, but they could be improved.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Next is Mr. Grove. To you, sir. Same question again, I will repeat it. How do you reduce redundancy, or what can you do to reduce redundancy in an effort to save those taxpayers' dollars?
So I'm very proud to announce that we've already done kind of the first step of that with LaSalle, Peru, Oglesby, Spring Valley, Mendota, and now we added LaSalle. So when you call the emergency number for 911, or when you call the LaSalle Police non-emergency number, that is actually going to our IVRD, Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch Center in Peru. So instead of LaSalle having our own 911 system, having to hire extra people to cover that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Same for Peru, same for Oglesby, same for Mendota, same for Spring Valley. We have one unit, which means we're putting our resources together. And what's is great is that these dispatchers, along with our own officers, right now working on getting a new CAD. So Officer Regatza is representing LaSalle. So it's like, as an officer, what do you need in your computer program to make it easier for you to do your job? And we're all talking to telecommunicator, what do you need to help your job to get done and make sure we're getting these people dispatched to the right locations? And it's been a godsend. It's been great. We're saving a lot of money. Again, using that money, anytime we can save some money, we're excited about it. We actually tried a couple years ago to do a joint policing, LaSalle, Peru, Oglesby. And it was kind of unheard of at the time, but since we were successful with IVRD, we thought we could try it. Unfortunately, with some of the union contracts and different pensions, it got hung up, and Peru decided to build their own facility. But again, we all were all in LaSalle. It wasn't a situation where we needed to have the central police station in LaSalle. We actually told them, we think it's such a great idea, we could save money, put it Oglesby or Peru. We didn't really care. But again, unfortunately, it was a great idea. It was actually put as a topic at Northern Illinois when they talked about shared services, that we actually tried it. Again, I'm hoping we can revisit it in the future. Again, Peru has a beautiful, big enough police station for all of us, but it'd be kind of like a zone patrolling. You know, you'd have 5 people on, maybe 2 people in LaSalle, 2 people in Peru, 1 person in Oglesby, and they would rotate around where needed. But it's a great concept. We kind of do that already now with mutual aid. If LaSalle has a call, Peru's right there, Oglesby's right there. In fire, if LaSalle has a call, same way. Peru's there, Oglesby there, or else they're backing up our station. We're kind of doing that in practice already. I just think it'd be nice to actually put it where the money is, and maybe make these shared resources permanently with these communities, and maybe get more involved. But IVRD has been a great example of that, and we're very proud of it. And thank you for the community to join in on that, and the flexibility to make sure we're doing that. Thank you.
I was around whenever they had that meeting. Didn't you walk out of the meeting in Peru?
Yeah, we will limit the sidebars. Appreciate the response to IVDR. For those who haven't been into the regional dispatch, the facility has been majorly updated, and I know that team goes through some training. So in the MABIS piece, if you're not on fire department or ambulance department, there is a lot of work that goes in regionally to those calls. So taking what's working already and re-implementing it into an area like policing may be, again, a future discussion for anybody that's up at this table. So thank you for that, and sir, wrap us up if you would.
The initiative I'm looking to go and pursue is to fill the TIF districts. They've been sitting for a while, and we just got to get something in there. So the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Department, the EPA, and at one point the USDA all had available grants and assistance programs in order to help bring businesses into TIF districts. The only issue is, if we go out of our way to ask for help, they tend to step on each other's toes. So we're gonna have to work as a city to maintain a streamlined push to get these TIF districts filled and any other development projects done. As it currently stands, the EPA and the DCEO, which is the Illinois Department of Commerce, seem to be wanting to pick up the slack of whatever the USDA is going to be missing going forward. So those two will be the ones we'll be dealing with the most, but they're going to be overlapping quite a bit. So you're going to probably see a lot more meetings going forward of us bringing people in and be like, all right, why are you making us jump through hoops over and over again? So we're going to have to really just lock them down in order to get these projects done.
Appreciate it. And I wish you luck with jumping through some of that, because I know that as you get bigger, it gets harder, and as you move levels of government, it gets harder to keep things intact and on track. So appreciate that, and calling out some of those agencies that not everybody knows about that we will have to work with regionally. So thank you for that. All right. Please, yeah, if you are so moved, absolutely. The next question, Jamie, is for you specific, sir. The question is, how can you balance accountability of property owners and city support for projects to make sure that businesses do have the desire to work here? We've seen some examples locally, and it's a balancing act at times, I think. So what kind of approach would you take to make sure that you keep that balance of accountability but also support for those potential businesses?
Just like you said, there is an imbalance. Small property owners and businesses are held to strict standards, while large developments and connected businesses seem to get a pass. That will stop under my leadership. No more playing favorites with business owners and landlords. Business owners and landlords must be held to the same standards. No more special treatment for big developers, while small businesses and homeowners struggle with the heavy-handed enforcement. If the city is going to enforce codes, it should enforce them equally across the board. Right now, our approval rate process is slow, unclear, and frustrating for businesses. We can't claim to be open for business if it's impossible for a business to get started. I will streamline permits and approvals with still maintaining oversight, so businesses don't have to wait 2 months to open and expand. TIF and grant monies must be used for real growth, not to patch deficits. Support property owners with incentive-based revitalization programs. Instead of just fining and punishing property owners, the city should offer incentives to help them improve their properties. Matching grants, low-interest city-backed loans, and redevelopment partnerships will encourage businesses and landlords to invest in properties without strong-arming them. We can't just throw tax incentives at big companies and hope they stay. We need a long-term vision, one that promotes small business growth, keeps property costs reasonable, and creates strong business community and creates a strong business community where companies want to invest their money in.
All right, I appreciate that, Jamie. A quick follow-up on that. So I know that it's been brought up a couple times. Are there any examples that you can think of that would help with some of that red tape? Because that's always a concern of speeding up the process of getting these people supported, but while making sure that that they are vetted to make sure that it makes sense for the community and that they are good tenants at times, because you run into that sometimes, I think.
Right. You have your slumlords that need to be taken care of, but you also have the needy people that need the help. And in my vision, I want to help the people. I don't want to tear down homes. I don't want to, we're spending $30,000 to take homes away from aldermans that didn't pay their taxes to tear them down, when we could be investing that $30,000 possibly into that home to keep it. Everything seems so backwards to me.
I appreciate it.
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I appreciate some of the clarification, and again, finding those areas, whether it's quickening the process or finding the areas of potential ways, I think that.
Well, it's just like this. I was looking at the some documents just for food trucks, for Karis Chemical. The paperwork that they have, the procurements, the insurance, I mean, oh my God. It's like you need to hire an engineer to put a food truck in LaSalle. That needs to stop.
Appreciate it.
Simplify some things.
Tyler. I'm jumping the gun on the applauses there, folks. I apologize. So the next question is for you, sir. What can you bring to the table that the other candidates may not be able to do?
So given my age, it seems that a lot more of the younger people tend to want to communicate with somebody who's at least close to their age. They feel like they're going to be heard more and more effectively. I want to be part of that gap that's being bridged between the old guard and then the people who are going to come after. I always bring up 18 to 25 as the age bracket I'm focusing on. I'm out of that age bracket. So this isn't to my benefit, it's to their benefit. I want to be an intermediate piece to this puzzle going forward. I see my being a candidate, becoming the mayor, as just a stepping stone for whoever comes after me. I want to finish the projects we have in the works now effectively, and then build foundations for what's going to be started next, because I'm not worried about being a career politician. I might just be a one-term guy, and I feel like that brings a strong level of commitment for whoever wants to come in next, because they know that their voice can be heard. They can break up what is the status quo as it is now. Another thing is I want to expand a lot of our city into the internet age, focus more on social media outreach, and potentially bringing in companies that focus more on just basically having just the office, and they do a whole bunch of online sales and bring in a large amount of money that way, so we don't have to take up as much space that we really don't have available at the moment. Another thing that we can do is, if I need to be in office longer than a term, I'm willing to do it if it means bringing confidence into a developer who thinks that they need somebody in there for 8 to 12 years to make sure a program is finished, and that somebody's not going to come in after and just tear it apart again. That seems to be about it.
All right, thank you, sir. So again, just to recap, and correct me if I'm wrong, really filling that gap, making sure that that 18 to 25 year demo, as well as the, where I'm at, which hurts to say, almost 40 plus demo, have that connector that can communicate on both sides, right, and speak both languages.
Yeah, hopefully, as you can tell, haven't been speaking very well, getting over something with my throat, making it kind of hard to talk, and that's also why my answers are a bit shorter today than I wanted them to be. But yeah, the gap needs to be made, because a lot of younger people are afraid to get into politics because they think they're just going to be crushed as soon as they come in. They really have this mindset of old money runs the world, and that's not necessarily true in local government. And older people, they tend to give more credit than younger people believe. They're willing to pass things on, work with people, but I feel like a bit of fear from going both ways right now, and just anxiety in general from younger individuals is really keeping them from wanting to outreach to the one side of the aisle. And the older people are trying to give help, and in some ways it comes off as pushy.
Thank you, sir. Gary, the next question is for you, and the question is, how can you balance the needs of revenue-generating businesses with current ordinances that at times limit them? And some of the examples that were given from, I'm assuming, a business owner, parking on First Street. It sounds like there's some things going on for the business owners if they park along First Street where their business is, noise ordinances, etc., that have been in the news or have come up in the past. So what can you do to kind of balance those two pieces, ordinances and making sure we meet the needs of those businesses?
If specific ordinances impede the businesses in our community, I will meet with the business to find out if any changes have to be made. I would not promote an ordinance change immediately to either impede the business or shut it down completely. I would first try to resolve the issue through negotiating and let's work more towards the businesses. Let's try to make the businesses as successful as they possibly can. People put a ton of effort and money when they are small business owners. I know that when I started out, we were working 60 or 70 hours a week in the startup stages of business. And people in downtown do that. I think that our council is a lot out of touch with understanding what it takes to actually get going, get started, and then sustain a business in any town, not just LaSalle. I mean, there is a lot of hats to wear. They have to be the marketing director, they have to be the the paycheck, the one that gives the paychecks every week. They have to do everything. They have to set the schedule. They have to order the stock. They have to even sometimes bring lunch to everyone. These are things that a small business owner does every single week. And we need to understand that. We need to talk to these small business owners and find out what the city can do to make them successful. At times, no matter what we do, it's not going to work out. Maybe the plan wasn't good in the first place. But so many times I see the passion and the dreams of these business owners. They really want to make it. And the strange thing is, like I said, I've helped over 35 businesses in LaSalle actually get started. And as we talk to these business owners, the first statement I tell them is that I want you guys to be millionaires. I want you to be a millionaire. Not for me, for them. Now, having the passion to help another person, I think that's the thing that is so tough when we see a food truck ordinance shut down. When we see any type of, I see the people come to the meetings with all the hopes that they can. And we see a council that is just completely out of touch with what's really going on. And what do? They vote against it. And it's just really heartbreaking to see that. And you guys have the opportunity to change it. You have the opportunity to make the right vote in all these wards.
That is 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's time for a change.
Jeff, we're going to close the last question with you before we get into closing comments. The question is, what can the city do to encourage our current retail locations to stay open during peak traffic hours on First Street? I know there's been a lot of talk on First Street.
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of our businesses downtown are family-owned. So if you're already working 8 to 5 when the public's open, but you're there 7 to 6, sometimes it's harder for folks to say, hey, I'm going to work till 8 o'clock. It costs a lot of money to hire folks and to get people that you can count on. What we're talking about throwing around is we have a side grant for outdoor work. If you put $12,500 into your outside building, the city will match you with $12,500, right? We know that a lot of times they're putting more work actually inside. So that $12,500 is helping the curb appeal, it's helping that business owner and have some more disposable income to put towards their business. We're looking at potentially projecting a payroll grant. So how can we keep people open on Saturday and Sunday? You go to Galena, you even go to Ottawa, some stores are open Saturday and Sunday. Some of these businesses right now, that's their only time they get off because they're the ones working it, the families working the business. If we could work out a deal where for a month they commit to open up on Saturday and Sunday, we offer maybe minimum wage or a matching $1 or $2 above minimum wage grant to them, as long as they commit to doing it for a month and see if it's worth their while. Kind of like everybody's mentioned about trying a business to see if it works and to stay in business. But that's the key. Right now we do have some empty storefronts downtown. There's no doubt about it. And I hear the talk about letting people come in and do it for free. Well, the city's not in the business of real estate. We don't own any storefronts downtown where we could just say, hey, Jeff Bro, come on in, try it for a month, and we could do it. But Mr. Hammers has 3 empty storefronts right now downtown, and maybe that's something he can do. I'm just confused as to how we're gonna hear this big plan after the election when there's 3 businesses downtown that are not being used. One was a fast restaurant you go through, the old Arby's. Not only in LaSalle, it might be that, hey, it's maybe not LaSalle police, or I have my time to talk. Not only is it a situation where maybe it's just Jeff Grove, and we can't do business in LaSalle. Oh, he has a building in Peru, catty corner from Peru City Hall. He paid $100 for it. There's not been any action there for at least 8 months. And that was supposed to be a pizza person who had a food truck. So food trucks are great, but if I go to Jose and Carla's Country Restaurant, I go to Mickey Massive, I go to Uptown, who are paying for the brick and mortar, which is property tax. They're also paying for the power. They're paying for the heat. How fair is it for me to have a food truck come in right next to them, and people are not gonna go to their restaurant because they're gonna go to the food truck? It's not. So as long as I'm the mayor, and I think the current city council agrees, that's not gonna happen, because we appreciate the people who are investing in downtown. It's only fair. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I would like to know what 3 businesses are empty that I own.
We won't, again, we won't go sidebar. I get it. The payroll grant, again, we've talked about some creative pieces. Would love to see something like that happen. I know talking with some of our members downtown, it is tough. I mean, they're 1 to 2 person operations, but there is oftentimes a miss with main traffic coming after 5 o'clock. So we will go into closing statements now. Appreciate everybody's answers. We had another 1.5 pages of questions to get through, which happens all the time. We get up talking, and especially when there's 4 or more folks, it's hard to get everything in. So if your question wasn't asked or answered, I apologize. There will be an opportunity to ask that over the next couple weeks of these gentlemen, as you are getting ready to vote April 1st. With that, though, Gary, we'll start with you for closing comments.
Again, I'd like to apologize. In closing, I will be reading from my notes. Thank you for being here tonight and taking the time to be part of this important decision for our city. It's our city. This election is about more than just choosing a mayor. It's about choosing a leader with a real plan and proven experience to get things done. I spent my life investing in LaSalle, starting businesses, restoring buildings, and creating opportunities. I know the challenges our city faces, and more importantly, I know how to fix them. I have the vision, the leadership, and the dedication to see this city reach its potential. As your mayor, I will support and expand local businesses to drive economic growth, lower property taxes by increasing sales revenue so the burden is not on the homeowners, invest in infrastructure to make LaSalle safer and more walkable. I'm recently walking down the street in LaSalle. I have to walk down the street in LaSalle because most of the streets do not have sidewalks that are able to walk on. Personally engage with business owners and residents to ensure the city is working for you. Bring in new development with a team of investors ready to build hotels, restaurants, and car dealerships, creating jobs and strengthening our economy. If we have a stronger economy, we don't have to play this game of being poor. I'm not running for a title. I'm running to make a difference. That's why I'm donating my entire salary back to the city. Because this isn't about a paycheck. It's about building LaSalle we can all be proud of. Now is the time for bold leadership. Now is the time for action. And now is the time for change. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Jamie?
I'm winging this No. Off script. Gary's right. This is a turning point for LaSalle, I believe. I don't think there'd be 4 people sitting up here if we didn't think something needed to be changed. My main goal is infrastructure. Infrastructure has been neglected for far too long in this city. Our water, our sewers, the underground. You can put lipstick on a pig and call it pretty, but it's still a pig. This current administration has known about issues with our water wells and floodplains for years. And the only time that they decided to do something about that is when EPA came in and mandated they do it. After they told them for years that they needed to. And people, I don't know if you realize how much money we've actually dumped into our wastewater treatment plant, our water treatment plant, because of EPA violations that we were charged with. Serious violations that were downplayed by this current administration with a smear campaign in the newspaper. It needs to stop. I don't know if you realize we're now looking for more money. We're begging for more money and we don't know where it's coming from. We're praying for a grant to land on the table to pay for our new water well because we're competing with Caris Chemical, and it's in the history books before time. We have been fighting Caris Chemical for clean water. They're taking half of what our whole city uses just for themselves. So what does that do to our system? What strains does that put on the taxpayer? What does that do to our quality of water? $60-some thousand to put a damn meter in that the city taxpayers had to pay while Caris pays pennies on the gallon and does not get charged for discharge into the city sewer. We pay to treat that and dump that into the river. The taxpayer. Like Caris Chemical gets away with paying nothing. Ordinances in place, not enforced, only when it benefits certain people. I've been a victim of that myself. It's time for a change, people. It's time for LaSalle to open their eyes and see what's been going on. And even if I don't get in, I request anybody who gets in office to put in for a forensic audit. We need to know where our money's been going, not the lie and bullcrap they're trying to put on paper. Because every week they tell us we got money. No, we don't. We're stealing money from TIF to pay for deficits. We're moving money around. We're playing a juggling act. And eventually the bottom of the barrel's gonna fall right out of that. And the bad thing is I don't understand why this current administration does not see that or realize eventually what you're doing, the bottom's gonna drop out. Fake LPAC committees, you're handing over $310,000, people. We don't even know where it's going. We don't know. People want to know if I'm gonna come in and get rid of people. I'm coming in and I'm cleaning house. That's what it's all about. You get a new mayor, you get new eyes, you get new ears, you get rid of the taintedness, the corruption in the police department. And John Duncan, I'm sorry, but from what I've seen with you, between the women that you have encountered and my encounters with me, you will not work underneath me in no way, shape, or form. You don't belong. You should not be representing the city of LaSalle. And you're supposed to be the human resource guy. And I got tons of videos showing me how you handle human resource. Love him all you want. Yeah, he does. You'll find out when I expose my goodness.
Tyler, to you, sir.
I don't think I can top any of that. I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out. I hope you guys continue to stay within politics in our city and continue to hold people accountable, develop the city going forward. I'm hoping that next time there is a forum, hopefully 4 years from now, more of these seats are filled. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. And Jeff, if you could wrap us up.
Yes, so I just want to do some point of order. You know, one thing when you're actually in the chair, there's facts you can't run away from. There's numbers, there's evidence, monetary evidence that is a footprint of what's going on. I can't just say, I'm gonna give everybody $1 million and I'm gonna do this for all your streets and curbs. It costs at least $80,000 to do one curb for one block on both sides and 2 sidewalks. Unfortunately, we're not there. The goal is to get there. But I'm not gonna promise that to you because I know it's realistic. The council would love to do that too. Some of the ideas brought tonight would be, we would love to do it. But again, we would have done it if it's feasible. We cannot do that, and we're getting our chance to get there. I just want to put a point of clarity on the ambulance meeting. I was there at a crew ambulance board meeting, and at the time, we asked them if we could get an ambulance at our station, we will continue with crew ambulance. If we can't, we're going to do something to service our own residents. They said, sorry, we can't do that. So I thanked them for their time and I left. Sorry, I didn't know what else I should do, but that's what we do. We left. Ordinance violations, permits. It is important to have permits. They're important for building code. I don't want to be in a building that doesn't have a building permit that shows up to code. I don't think I want my family in there. I don't think you guys want your families in there. Ordinances. That's right. We will go ahead, and this is your typical behavior, we will go ahead and we want to change behavior. We don't want to slap anybody's fines for $100 or $50. So what happens is if we give Bill a violation notice, hey, your grass is getting high. Jeff Roval is next to you, would like for you to cut your grass. Jeff Roval keeps his, I'm sorry, not Jeff Roval, Tyler keeps his property perfect. He doesn't want to live next to somebody who has out of control. It's called property maintenance. It's called curb appeal. It's called pride in the community. It's called property value, right? So what we do is, and I know the chief does this, and our building inspector, they'll say, Bill, please take care of it. You take care of it, we're gonna put that down to $10. Because it's not the money we need for building code enforcement. We wanna change behavior, okay? Water bills. We came in as a team, and there were people who said, hey, you know what? I can't make my water bill this week, this month. You know, and in past administrations, to whatever they decide, they said that was fine. When we came in, we said, you know what, we're running this as a business. We're not cash flush where we can afford, we have to pay bills to the city. You go to Insight, you go to Comcast, you go to Ameren. If you're late with your bill, you're gonna get a notice, right? You're gonna get a notice. We do the same thing now, and the people in the office were very appreciative that we actually held the line. Thank you, Jeff. Now we know what revenues we can count on to run every day-to-day business, now that we know these revenues that come in. And guess what? The behavior's really changed. And unfortunately, we had to go to the point of getting door hangers, because not everybody's checking their emails, not everybody's checking their text messages. They might be, and they put them off, and then they forget to go back to them. Postage, is it kind of archaic? It might be, but it's really working. And one reason we give the courtesy to the landlord is because in the end, if Jeff Grove skips out on paying that bill and I leave that apartment, guess what? The landowner is responsible for it. So that's why we try to get the landowner heads up to put a little pressure on their tenant to make sure they're paying the bills. Email me. Safe environment, okay? I'm running for mayor. John Duncan's not running for mayor. None of my staff here, our team is running for mayor. I will not allow an unsafe work environment. Who works for a company in leadership out here? You have a right to protect, you have to protect your employees from harassment, or you need to make sure they're not harassing the public or harassing each other. So this is an example today of why there is an order of protection against Mr. Hicks, against John Duncan for threats made. This is a perfect example, and I wasn't bringing it up.
That's in appeal court.
Nope, you brought it up.
That's in appeal court as we speak.
This is my job in the city council. If we don't protect our work employees, guess who could get sued? The city of LaSalle for not taking care of that. Somebody tell me here that's wrong.
What you do to me,
If that's
Mayor
the case,
Joe?
then Bill, can you?
We have, just to, we've
Fake
made it
Apollo
through
inspection?
an hour and a half. We made it
Well,
through an hour and a half.
I'm gonna
Let's
finish
get
my
through the last
You
20
wanna have a
seconds.
debate, we can go toe to toe.
Let us get through the
anytime.
last 20 seconds here, Mr. Hicks. We've made it this far. Again, I get there's
Right there,
disagreements.
so I'd like a little more time.
So,
So
let's
and
wrap
one more
up.
thing is, you don't see him in the radio, you don't see him in the newspaper. The last 6 months, I've been going directly to the voters, okay? But I am gonna go by facts. Mr. Hammer says he only got $43,000 when I said it was over $380,000. I had the sheets, I had the check numbers. I guess when you drive by the State Farm building, which is now Detour, which is run like a top-class organization, those are buildings that property was given to Gary, in communication with Gary from the city, as well as all these RIP grants and other checks that was cashed by him, as far as the program to take care of that development. And if you were offered a property worth $240,000 and then started to be able to start from fresh with that, with investment money,
I spent $1.5 million to finish the job.
$240,000
That's what I spent. So
In
you can
closing-
say that you
We,
gave.
I'm gonna just pause there. Again, we've made it through an hour and a half. I do not want to end on this matter. Again, there are going to be disagreements. That is okay. It is okay to have disagreements. That's how government works. That's how life works. You don't have to agree with each other, but I will ask while you're on the stage, you are cordial.
In closing, I want to thank Gary and Julie Hammers for investment downtown, but I also want to thank Mike Bird and Nikki Hoffman, Chrissy Pasika and family, Tom and late Phyllis Arnold, the Duncan family of LaSalle State Bank, the Brady family, Hayden family of Tri-City Frog Shop, the late Ron and Maureen Seneca for having a vision, Drew and Denise Burnaby, Ray and Rita Andres, Ryan and Alexis Andres, Jim Milanen. I have a list here of all our local businesses downtown who put money into their businesses, into their buildings. So yes,
Yes,
it is true.
If
that
I wasn't
you've done a
running
great
against
job.
you
So thank
today,
you.
would you thank anyone?
So, bottom line is, folks, I want to appreciate the support out there. Don Murphy Grody, I love the Slash Chef Team Grove. This has been a tough election for me, losing my brother in September, but the support that I've gotten out here from folks that, hey, put a sign in, Jeff, we're with you. It doesn't go unnoticed, and thank you. I'd have the honor of serving 4 more years.
That is the end. So what I will do now is, again, we're about a couple minutes over. We did ask a couple extra questions. What I will do is I will invite anybody who is running for a position to come on up. This is your chance. Again, it's a informal meet and greet, so if you'd like to meet candidates running for council seats or for school board, for IBCC, they will be standing up front. Just for sake of time, I won't have them each introduce themselves. We are going to do that, but come down, talk to them, ask who they are, where they're from, what they're running for, and we'll have this last half hour set that way. So thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening and drive safe. Thanks.